Okay, so for this question over here, inequalities, and I'll give you some to do, then you can have a go. It has to be, it's a quadratic, okay? So therefore we know a quadratic is equal to 0. But if you notice something, you've got a less than sign and a greater than sign, okay? Normally we're used to equal 0. So what do we do when we have a quadratic that's equal to 0? We factorize it, okay? What do we do when we factorize? We take it out of the bracket and then we solve it. Okay, we switch the signs over and so on. We equal it to 0, rearrange it, and find the value of the factors. So here you have to do something kind of similar to it as well, but I'll show you the difference, what happens. So here's the quadratic equation, but I'll explain why the less than and greater than comes in. So you have the equation, so it's x squared plus 6x plus 8, and you factorize it. So it's simply, excuse me, what two numbers multiply together to make 8, but add together to make 6. So we know it's x plus 4. Okay, and x plus 2, because 4 times 2 is equal to 8, and if we add them up it should make the middle, so 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. Okay, so what we've got here is if we take it out of its bracket, so just like we do with the factorizing, we'll take the first bracket out. So I'll just drop it here. So therefore it's x plus 4 is equal to 0. Rearrange it, so therefore x is equal to minus 4. So that's one of the solutions. Then you do it with the other one, so x plus 2 is equal to 0, so therefore x equals, take away the 2, take the 2 to the other side, so x equals minus 2. So those are the two solutions, but it's what we do with the two solutions. Okay, so I've got x equals minus 2 and x equals minus 4. So if you think about the graph, here's the graph. Here are the two solutions. One is at minus 2, there's minus 2, and the other one is at minus 4, there's minus 4. And your quadratic graph kind of looks like this. Okay, on here. So because it looks like that, what we now need to do is this, okay? Just as long as you show that it's cutting between these two, because it's less than 0, it means that the solutions is inside the graph. That's where the solutions can be, between these two. So between here and between here. So if it's in the middle, because it's less than 0, okay, less than 0 means, okay, it's within this range. Therefore, it's in the range of minus 2, minus 4, and minus 2. So how do we write the inequality? We write minus 4 first, because it's the smallest number. We'll write minus 2 over here, okay, and therefore we'll put an x over here. Now, if you look at the symbol, because it's less than, it doesn't have the equal sign, so you just have to keep it as less than on both sides over here. The arrows must always go to the left. You're going to find this out when I do this later, but both arrows go to the left. So what you're saying is, okay, that x is, if I read it this way, x is greater than minus 4, so it's greater than minus 4, but, use another color, x is less than minus 2. So there's less than minus 2, and that's why the solutions are between this. Okay, so that's what happens when you have a less than sign. If we look at the other one at the bottom, here we go. Again, what do? We factorize it. So therefore, x squared plus 2x minus 35. What two numbers multiply together to make minus 35? We know one will be a plus and one will be a minus. But add together to make plus 2, we know it'll be x plus 7 and x minus 5. So 7 times minus 5 is minus 35, and 7 take away 5 is positive 2. Okay, so when we do that, again, we take it out of the bracket. So x plus 7 is equal to 0. Therefore, x equals minus 7. We take the other one out of the bracket. So x minus 5 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to positive 5. So those are my two solutions. So how do we write these two solutions out? Think about it this way now. Here's the graph again. So one number is cutting at minus 7. So I'll just put it here roughly, minus 7, doesn't matter. And the other one here is positive 5. There you go. And your graph will curve somehow and it will go through those 2 points. Sorry, those 2 points. When we did less than 0, if you remember, okay, the answers were inside the graph, between those two main curves. Okay, it's inside the graph. Okay, the problem with this one is it says it's greater than 0. So guess where the answers are? See this curve part here? Okay, where this is, the solutions are on the right of this. And see this curve over here, the solutions are on the left of this. So when we write the answer for this one, we don't do it like we wrote the answer for less than. We say x. Okay, you look at this bit here, because the arrow is going to the left, therefore x is greater than, sorry, x is less than minus 7. So meaning all the numbers, if you look at it, are less than minus 7 as they're going on the left. So the more you move to the left, the lesser the numbers are getting. And if you look at this one over here, okay, the numbers are getting bigger as they move away from the 5. So therefore, x is greater than positive 5. So you have to write it like this, not in one line. There are actually two solutions. Okay, so these two are the solutions, and that's the answer. Okay, so that's how you write both ways. I'll give you, you can, where is it? There you go. Here's two questions. There we go. Remember, there's a 1 in front of that x. Okay, I'll let you work on that. Here are two. One is with this inequality sign, less than, but it's got equal. Same thing as less than, but you have to keep the equal sign at the bottom. And the other one is greater than or equal to 0. So these two questions are exactly like these two questions that we've just done. Sorry, there we go. Where are we? Yeah, these two questions that we've just done. Okay, so one had less than, one had greater than, so you do it the same way. So this one, I expect you, because it's less than, what you're going to do is x in the middle, both arrows on the left, but because it's got equals, they both need an equal sign, and you're going to write one solution there, one solution. This one is greater than, so it's going to be x is either less than or greater than a number, and the other will be x is greater than or less than another number. So this has to be written as two answers. This is written as one whole answer on one line with both arrows going to the left. This question here, I'll give this one to you, then you can have a pop at this one. This is such a great question as well. So according to this one, this is another one that you can do. You expand this bracket here at the top. Just make this a bit bigger. There you go. So you can do this on paper. You expand this bracket here at the top. So x squared is greater than, and then you expand the bracket out. But it's a quadratic, so 0 has to go on one side. How do you know which side it goes on to? Okay, remember, if wherever the x square is, whichever side the x square is, okay, have a look at it. The x square must stay there as long as it's positive. So because it's positive here, all these terms must go to the other side and the sign switches. So therefore, there'll be 0 on the right hand side and the inequality sign stays the same. Once you've done that, you then solve it. Okay, and focus on greater than. What does greater than mean? It means you'll have two separate solutions. This one over here is baby goes to mummy. If you look at it, 3x squared and 4x squared. The baby one here is 3x squared. So everything must move to the right hand side. Okay, and 0 will be on the left hand side if you look at that. And there's your quadratic. When you've got that, okay, it's this quadratic is greater than 0. So you read it always from the x squared side. So this, okay, over here is greater than 0. Now, if it's greater, this is a greater question. Again, greater means you'll have two solutions. Okay, so have a go at this one as well. So you've got two lots of questions. One is this one, and one is this one. Just pause it and have a go and see how you do it. Look at this though. If you think about it, 4 marks for these questions in the GCSE examination paper. Then you've asked me how to read the lines. So let's have a look at this. This means, okay, again, I'll write it out in big. Okay, here we go. -2, and this is 3. You must always read it from the letter. The letter is the big one. So always read it from N, and in your mouth, when you say it, say N. So therefore, we're going to read it first from the middle to the left, and then we'll read it from the middle to the right. So how does it sound? N is greater than or equal to -2. Then you read it from the other side. N is less than 3. Just because both arrows are going on the left, people think they both mean less than. No, it doesn't. Because you're reading it from the letter, okay, this means N is greater than, okay, because you're moving, okay, remember those crocodile things as well, okay, this is greater than in this case. Then if you read it from middle to right, it's N is less than. And if you think about it, just to make it a bit more easier for you, okay, the number on the left will always be smaller than the number on the right. Always, because the two arrows are always going to the left. So think about it this way. That's the smallest value. That's the highest value. So let's have a look at this then. N is an integer. Write down all the possible answers. Because you've got, let me rewrite this. Because you've got from the middle to the left, you've got the equal sign here, which means you include the -2. So -2, -1, keep going up, 0, 1, 2, but you can't include 3 because there is no equal sign at the bottom. So therefore, those are all your integers. The next one says, now be careful about the drawing part. On the number line, show the inequality x is greater than -3. Here's the trick. Look at the top one over here. The top one over here had 2 numbers. If it's got 2 numbers, it means it must have 2 circles. If it's got only 1 number on the inequality line, it means it only has 1 circle. Therefore, it's got the circle on -3. So we put a circle on -3. We don't shade it in because the inequality sign doesn't have an equals. If it had an equals, then you would shade it in. But because it doesn't have it, we can't shade it in. Okay, so what do we do next then? Once we've done that, it says, remember, we always read it from the letter. X is greater than -3. Whereas greater means everything to the right. How long is the arrow? Nobody cares, as long as you've got an arrow showing to the right hand side. This one over here is similar to the question at the top. Remember, we read it from the middle, always the middle. So we say, and the number on the left-hand side will always be smaller than the number on the right. So we've got a 1 to 5. But if you look at the 1, it's got an equal sign in there, and the one on the right does not have an equal sign in there. So what are the numbers between 1 and 5? But 5 you can't include. Remember, that's why I've put a cross. Okay, so therefore it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can't include the 5, so those are the integers. Next one over here, write down the inequality shown on there. There is only one circle, therefore there should only be one number. Okay, so therefore we'll use this. There's the x. So x is, and if you look at the arrow, it's going to the left hand side. This 5 means nothing because the arrow stops there. It means nothing. There's only going to be one number. You can't use 2 and you can't use -5. Okay, so using two numbers is completely wrong because there is only one circle and we only focus on the circle, not how far the arrow goes. So it's on 2, and because it's going to the left hand side, all the numbers are less than that number, therefore x is less than 2. The reason why we don't put the line underneath it is because this white circle has not been shaded in. So the answer is, oops, let me just get rid of that, x is less than 2. Always read it from x. Okay, the next one, I've got this one here. There we go. I'll let you do this one actually. This is your one. So what numbers are between -1 and 3? Okay, remember, look for the inequality sign. Start from the left. Left must be smallest, right must be biggest, all are integers, and so on. Next one over here. So this one says solve. So this is like rearranging actually, but you must keep the inequality sign the same. You've got two lots of x's here, so baby goes to mummy, so this x will go to the other side. So that becomes 3x and that becomes 6. You then drop the 3 under, therefore it becomes 6 over 3. Therefore x is less than or equal to 2. Now you've got that inequality. Let me just do it a bit neater. Here we go. X is less than or equal to 2. So therefore now you need to plot this. Nice and simple. You start reading it from the x, and the number you've got is 2. It's a single number, therefore there is a circle on there, on here. Now because it's got the equal sign on the bottom, you have to shade it in. Because the arrow is going to the left, which means less than as well, you draw an arrow going to the left. How far? You can draw a small one, you can draw a long, nobody cares, as long as there's an arrow to the left. You do not connect it to anything. Okay, next one. This time, have you noticed, it's got 2 numbers here. Okay, not one number, 2 numbers. So the first number is on -2, do a circle on -2. The next number here is 4, +4, so there is +4. What do you notice about the inequality signs? None of the inequality signs, it's not the fact it's going to the left, remember we don't read it like that. None of the inequality signs has equal, so you're not shading in any circle, but you've got 2 circles here. So what do? You connect them together, and that is the answer. Look at the one on the bottom. This one is shaded. It's on -2, but the arrow is going to the right, which means greater than. How would you write that out? Have a go at that. Next one, watch again. You've got 2 circles. Be careful with this. One circle is on the left at -4. One is on +3. So you've got a -4 on the left, and on the right you've got +3. Don't put x in the middle. Be careful with this one. It tells us that it must be a y. If you put an x, you lose a mark. It's a y, that's why look at that carefully as well. It's a y, so there must be a y in the middle. Which way do the arrows go on double numbers? 2 numbers. Which way does the arrow go? Again, both arrows must go to the left if you're involving double numbers. So one on this side and the other on this side. But because the left one on -4 is shaded in, there must be an equal sign. The one on the right with 3 is not shaded, therefore you cannot put an equal sign in there. So have a look at that one. Next one. On the number line, show the inequality of that. So you need to rearrange this. Okay. So therefore you have x is 4 minus 1. So we take the 1 to the other side. Therefore x is less than or equal to 3. Guess what? You've got one number. I know this looks like you've got 2 numbers here, but you have to put everything to one side because it's x is something. So therefore x is less than or equal to. It's got the equal sign in there, so it should be shaded, and 3, and it says less than, so it's going to go one direction. Okay, so have a look at that. Plot that for me, please. Next one. So this one's write the values. Now, I love this one. This is where the high level question comes in. What do you notice about the middle in particular? Because normally they say write down all the integers. The problem with the middle is, if you notice, okay, it has to be a single letter on its own. This one isn't. So you've got 5 minus 2y, and you've got 12. Now, a lot of students think that then write out all the numbers between 5 and 12, and that's all the integers. It's wrong. Okay, what you need to do is, let me draw this arrow again, sorry. What you need to do is, if in the middle, if it doesn't have just a single letter, you block off the first term on the left and the middle term and write it out here. So that becomes 5 less than 2y. Okay, just copied it out. Then you take the one on the right hand side, hold on, and the middle as well. So the right hand side and the middle. So I've took the 2y on the left one. Now I'm going to take the 2y again on the right, and I've put 12. So I've split it into two parts. I've taken the, I'll do it in blue. I've taken the left and the middle. I'll do this in dark, I'll do it in black. And you take the middle and the right and you place them down here. Now you solve it for y. So according to this, 2 goes under. So 5 over 2 is less than y. And 5 divided by 2 is 2.5 is less than y. Okay, you do the same for the one on the right. You take the 2 and drop it under. So y, there we go, 12 divided by 2. Therefore, y is less than 6. Okay, once you've done that, guess what happens? Look at the 2. They meet up. Okay, because at the beginning they were joined together. Now you've got to join them together. So we're going to link these two together. Okay, and we're going to, what we're going to do when we link them together, let's get rid of this bit here. I don't need it anymore, but just show it to you. Okay, I don't have space underneath, so I expect you to be doing this. Okay. So what happens is, have a look. Oh, I took off everything, didn't I? Hold on, here we go, sorry. So I want this, yeah, this bit here, not the bottom bit. There we go, let me just get rid of all of that. There we go. I need this bit here. Okay, so look what I do. Because we're connecting both y's together, I'm going to put y in the middle. The arrow on the left over here, so I've done it too high. The arrow on the left over here goes here, and then on the left hand side I've got 2.5. The arrow on here on this side is on the left. Have you noticed both arrows again going on the left? And on the right hand side over here we should have a 6. There we go. And therefore you have now got your inequalities. So what do we do when we do this? It's got two numbers. Okay, we don't need a 12, we don't need a 5. Be careful with that. We've got a 2.5. Okay, on here, and we've got a 6, which means what are the integers, whole numbers, where y is greater than 2.5, so, and which from 6. So think about it, from 2.5 all the way up to 6. So give me all the whole numbers from 2.5 up to 6. Okay, but remember, both inequalities, this is interesting, doesn't have the equal sign at the bottom. And because they don't have the equal sign, you can't include the numbers. Now, we can't include 2.5 anyway because it's not an integer. And we can't include 6 because it doesn't have the equal sign. So it will be 3, 4, and 5. Again, we can't have 2 because 2 is below the 2.5. 2.5 is the minimum. We can't include the 6 because the inequality sign doesn't have equal. So we have to stop at 5. So the answer is 3, 4, 5. Next one over here, you can have a go at this if you want. So you've got -8 and you've got 3n and you've got 10. Again, write down all the integers. They love this. Okay, if you look at the middle does not have a single letter on its own like we did with the early questions. So therefore you block the first part off, write it out. You then block off the middle and the right part and write it out. Make sure it's on one line so it's nice. You then solve it, okay? Keep the letters exactly how they are and then join the n back together in the middle. So then you should have n, 2 arrows on the left-hand side with 2 numbers over here. So rearranged and drop the 3 under, okay? So have a go at that, see what you get. That's a great question. What am I doing next? There we go. This one you can do. It's got two circles, but therefore it's on 2 numbers and they're both colored in. So both arrows on the left, difference is they'll both be equal. Look at this over here. It's got a y people always write x off all the time. Could be n, it could be an n, could be a y, could be an x. That letter must go here, and then therefore those two numbers go on the end as well. You should be able to plot this one. I will leave that with you. Please use n for the next one, please. It's important. Let's do this one. You can do this one. It's got two numbers again, arrows on the left, and so on. This one over here is quite nice. It's just a solve, nothing else you have to do. So therefore expand the bracket, okay, and make n the subject. Okay, so drop it and make n the subject. Next one here, be careful, -3, there we go, 2n, and we've got 6. The middle, if you notice, is not n. So again, it's the one where you block the first two, and you block the middle and the right, and then you split them up and then bring the n back together. If you look at question 15 over here, again, it's solved, therefore expand the bracket and make n the subject. See what you get. What else we got? All right, I like this one actually here, because they want you to solve this and then put it again on the inequality line. But if you notice, check this out. So -3, here we go, x plus 2, and you've got 2. Now, if you notice the left-hand side and the middle, we need that. We're going to draw this out. It's got x plus 2. It's not got a attached like last time. So it's -3, and there we go, x plus 2. So make x the subject, so the plus 2 goes to the other side. So it's -3 minus 2. Doesn't go under because it's not joined, and it is equal to, or less than or equal to, x. Okay, so therefore -3 minus 2 is -5, and therefore that's x. You do the same for the right hand side over here. Okay, so you drop that down, so that becomes x plus 2, and then you've got 2 here. Plus 2 will go to the other side as well. So therefore x is, there we go, 2 minus 2. Therefore x is 2 take away 2 is 0. Again, join the two x's together. Love that. And keep the number on the left as the number on the left and the number on the right as that. And because you'll have two numbers, then you need to draw it on the number line. So have a go at that, see what you get. Similar to this one, this is exactly the same as well. The difference with this one on the bottom is, I'll just do the first bit, have a look. 2y minus 3, and there is 9. Let's just focus on this bit here. You can do the one on the right. So we write it out, 1, there we go, 2y minus 3. So the minus 3 will go to the other side, so it'll become 1 plus 3, which is 4. And that's 2y, and then you'll split the 2 from the y and drop it under, and then find that. And then you do the same on the other side, okay, using this, take it over, and then drop the 2 under as well, and then write down all the integer values. This one over here is baby goes to mummy, and then solve it. So I'll leave that one with you. I think we're done. So those are kind of how you do the inequalities. Have a go at that, please. If you want to send some back and show it, or whatever, and although you feel comfortable, more than happy for that. Otherwise, what you can do is, I'll tell you where I got both of these from, and you can practice. If you go to Corbett Maths and type in quadratic inequalities on Corbett Maths. Okay, so quadratic inequalities, Corbett Maths, answers or solutions. The first link will normally give you the whole solution.